Once upon a time, on the edge of a sprawling western valley, where dust rose like morning smoke and the wind hummed low against wooden fences, there lived a quiet rancher named Cole Mercer. He was a man carved by sun and silence, someone who kept to himself, someone who rarely spoke unless the words mattered. Most days, he worked alone on his wide, lonely ranch mending fences, tending horses, and watching the horizon like it still owed him something from the past. People in town said Cole's heart had been stitched together more times than a saddlebag. Some said he'd lost too much to ever let anyone else close again. He didn't argue. He didn't confirm. He just lived quietly, letting each day pass like another page he didn't care to read twice. But everything shifted the winter morning he found two figures walking down the dirt road that cut through the valley. The sky was pale, the cold was sharp, and the tracks of their boots were uneven, as if each step took effort. Cole, riding his chestnut horse, slowed when he saw them. A woman, young, but worn by something he couldn't name, walked with determination. Beside her, a Bunot older than 8 clutched a small canvas backpack to his chest. They both turned when they heard Cole's horse approach, but instead of fear, the woman's eyes held something else entirely. Hope mixed with desperation. "Morning," Cole said, tipping his hat in a quiet greeting. The woman swallowed, her breath misting in the cold. "Sir, can you take us to town?" she asked. Her voice trembled, not from the weather, but from uncertainty. Cole studied them, his eyes narrowing just slightly. Their clothes were clean but travel-worn, and their shoes were dusty enough to reveal a long walk. The boy kept glancing at his mother like he was trying to be brave for her. "Town's still 6 miles away," Cole said slowly. "You two been walking since daylight?" She nodded. Since before that, Cole didn't ask why they were strangers, and strangers always carried secrets, but he could see exhaustion in their shoulders, in the way the woman stood with her weight shifted to one side, like one leg hurt. The boy clung to her arm as though he'd learned young that the world wasn't always gentle. Cole weighed his words, then spoke with the steady softness he rarely used. "I can take you." Then he paused, holding their eyes for a moment longer than necessary. "Only if you promise to come back home?" The woman blinked. "Home. My ranch," Cole clarified, though his voice hinted at something deeper. "Storms rolling in this evening? Town might help you for a day, but you need somewhere safe after. You'll come back here, both of you." She hesitated, not because she didn't trust him, but because life had likely taught her not to trust anything that sounded too kind, too stable, too good. The boy tugged her sleeve gently. "Mom," he whispered, "I'm cold." It settled it. The woman nodded slowly. "We promise." Cole extended his hand. "Name Lena," she said, "and this is my son Eli." Cole nodded once, as if committing it to memory. "All right then, Lena. Eli, let's get you on the horse." He lifted the boy first, settling him on the saddle, then helped Lena climb behind, her hands wrapped instinctively around her son. Cole walked beside the horse, leading them through the winding path toward town. The journey was quiet at first, the kind of silence that wasn't awkward, just unfamiliar. But after a few minutes, Lena spoke softly. "Thank you, sir. We didn't mean to cause trouble. We just needed somewhere to go." Cole didn't answer right away. He heard the heaviness hidden under her words, the kind that didn't come from a single bad day, but from months, maybe years of carrying everything on her own. "Trouble's not what you are," Cole finally said. "Cold and tired, maybe, but not trouble." Lena looked away, biting her lip as though the kindness itself hurt. As they continued, Cole learned tiny pieces of their story not because Lena offered them freely, but because Eli, in his innocent way, filled the silence with truth. He told Cole about sleeping in borrowed rooms, moving from town to town, how they'd left a bad place behind just 2 nights ago. He didn't say what happened. He didn't need to. Cole could read the gaps between the child's words. When they reached town, Lena and Eli dismounted. The boy held Cole's gloved hand for a moment too long before letting go, his small way of saying thank you. Lena faced Cole, brushing a strand of windblown hair from her cheek. You've done more than enough, she said softly. We'll get what we need and come back. Cole met her eyes with a look she couldn't quite read. I'll be right here. Dash. She nodded, then took Eli's hand and headed toward the general store. Cole leaned against his horse, waiting. He didn't know these two, didn't know their past. But something in him, something hidden, something long quiet, felt the faintest spark of recognition. Like maybe he understood loneliness too well. Like maybe he'd been waiting for something he didn't even know he needed. An hour passed. Then, too, the storm clouds crawled in from the western ridge, turning the sky dark. Cole watched the road, the storefront, the corners where people passed, but Lena and Eli didn't appear. A strange panic stirred in him, unfamiliar and unwelcome. What if they changed their minds? What if they believed coming back wasn't safe? What if they vanished like shadows after sunrise? Just when Cole was about to step toward the store, he saw them. Lena had a small brown bag of supplies in one hand, Eli's fingers wrapped tightly around the other. They walked slowly not because they were stalling, but because the boy looked tired. And in Lena's face, there was something new. Trust. You waited. Oh, she said softly when they reached him. A promise is a promise, Cole replied. She looked up at him, the wind tugging gently at her coat. Then we'll keep ours too. Cole helped them onto the horse again. This time, Lena didn't hesitate to steady herself by holding his arm. It surprised him how natural her touch felt, like something belonging instead of borrowed. As they rode back toward the ranch, the first snowflakes began to fall. Eli rested his head against his mother, drifting in and out of sleep. Lena kept her eyes on the horizon, but every so often, she glanced at Cole walking beside the horse. There was gratitude in that look. But something else too, something delicate and unsure, like a butterfly deciding whether to land. When they reached the ranch, Cole opened the door to the warm-lit house. He stepped back, allowing Lena and her son to enter first. This place, Lena whispered, her breath catching. The room was simple, rustic, but it felt like a home, something she hadn't known in a long time. Cole took off his hat, setting it on the hook. It's not much, but it's safe. And you can stay as long as you need. Lena turned to him, her eyes glistening not with tears but relief. We won't forget this. Cole shook his head. You don't owe me anything. But Lena stepped closer, her voice quiet. Maybe not, but kindness like this, it changes people. Cole felt a warmth he hadn't known in years settle in his chest. Lena wasn't just thanking him. She was giving him something to a place in her story, a place in Eli's life, a place in the future. That night, snow covered the valley like a blanket. Inside the ranch house, the fire burned bright, and Lena tucked Eli into the guest bed. The boy smiled sleepily. Mom, we're home, right? Lena brushed his hair gently. Yes, sweetheart, we are. Outside the doorway, Cole heard the whisper and felt something inside him settle for the first time in years. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know if Lena would stay for a week, a month, or forever. But as she walked toward him, her eyes soft, her footsteps steady, he realized something simple and quiet. Sometimes home isn't a place. Sometimes it's a promise one made on a cold morning by a stranger on a horse, and kept by two souls who had nowhere else to go. And sometimes, without meaning to, that promise becomes the beginning of everything.